Hello, welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. I'm Chrissy and I'm the Mum Boss, and let me tell you, it has been a day of technology tomfoolery today. I am approximately 2 hours behind, if not 3 hours behind, of everything I wanted to do because nothing would work this morning. But you know what? We roll with it. It's fine. It's all good. I'm here now. So you're joining me today for a Mum Boss at Home community check-in. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much to all the ladies that checked in this week. Love that you are showing up for yourselves. Thank you very much. So let's start, as always, with wins. Sarah went for dinner on Friday evening for her friend's birthday and switched to drinking water at 11. It was so nice to wake up not feeling like crap and still be able to go for her planned run on Saturday morning and complete her fastest 10k. Well done, Sarah. Hannah got 2 really great walks of up to 6 miles. Well done, Hannah. Claire did her weighted workouts. Her food choices were good during the week. Sarah felt exhausted one day and felt like she wanted to eat everything but resisted. Lisa managed a walk 4 days in a row. She's been really ill, so she also took the kids out to their school fair and stayed away from loads of food that she knew and not in line with her goals. And she's a little bit proud of herself for being nowhere near the F it button. Jackie continued healthy eating, plus her grandsons kept her fitness up. Laura, we are on summer holidays, so I'm having the best time with my family. Love that. Jack has still got the right mindset, even if everything else seems to be going wrong. Soph jumped straight back into sensible eating and box ticking once she was back from her work trip. Well done, Soph. And Stacey found that her movement was a little more there this week as she's feeling a little bit better after a horrible virus. She's been planning for the summer holidays, setting some boundaries and non-negotiables, and she finds that being out of routine is really hard in her house. And Emma has had several PBs in the gym. Well done, Emma. Okay, let's go through challenges and questions then. This probably isn't going to be like a really long one, I'm going to be honest. So just a couple of things to acknowledge. So I'm working on the weekend treat mindset because I think that it's the weekend so I can eat more. First thing I want to say about this is I hear you. I think that 99.99% of us think that way about the weekends. It's really easy, particularly if you have a Monday to Friday job. Weekends tend to be a bit more sociable. The routine is different. If there's a routine at all, you tend to treat yourself in inverted commas. A couple of things to just help you to continue to make progress here. This mindset, remember that the weekend is 42% of your week. So if you from Friday lunchtime or after Friday lunchtime think, right, it's the weekend and I can do what I want, you are sacrificing 42% of your results by having that mindset. So that's the first thing to think about. It is almost half of your time, okay? Then what I want you to think about is that if you are not, again, I use the word really loosely, treating yourself during the week. If you are restricting yourself during the week so that you don't allow yourself any chocolate or allow yourself, some crisps or a bit of cake during the week, you will go mad for those things when it comes to the weekend. Alcohol, I think, is a little bit different. I pretty much stick to a no drinking rule Monday to Thursday. I mean, I don't drink very much anyway, but Monday to Thursday, or even really Sunday to Thursday where I can, I tend to not drink. I think a lot of people have that because obviously it's a school night, but if you're completely avoiding all of those things all week, then of course you are going to go mad for them when it comes to the weekend. So think about how you can change that behaviour. Question, I'd love to hear the benefits you find from taking creatine. Would it benefit me with my running. So creatine is the most well-researched supplement there is. It helps with strength, it helps with power, so it will definitely help you with running. It's been shown to help with cognitive brain function. So if you are perimenopausal or menopausal, or you are coming up to that age, it can help. Now, here's what I say about it. I definitely notice when I forget to take my creatine for a few days. And one of the things I do notice as well is that my brain fog gets worse. Some of you are going, Chrissy, your brain fog is worse all the time. Now, is that a placebo? I don't know, but I don't really care. Creatine is very inexpensive. And so for the sake of spending that amount of money and remembering to take it as close to daily as possible, I'm happy for that. If you look at the link in the show notes, I've linked through to the creatine I use, and you can get 10% off of that if you so wish. You don't have to buy that creatine. There are lots of creatines on the market. Okay, next one. It's been a really sociable week with football, couple of birthdays. We've eaten at friends' houses about 4 times, which has either been barbecues, pizzas or picky food. And I've definitely eaten food that has been I've eaten the food that's been on offer, telling myself that people will think I'm rude if I don't. I haven't gone mad, but in reality I'm sure no one would judge me for not eating the food. So this has come up a lot recently, and I think it's where, we're getting into the summer holidays. Obviously the football's been on, and I think people tend to be a bit more sociable at this time of the year, even if the weather hasn't proven to be on our side yet. People tend to maybe arrange a bit more to do around this time of year because you hope that the weather is going to be nice. I think if you're being invited to someone's house for a meal, it's one thing, okay? And this comes up in another question a little bit later on. So if you're being invited over for a meal, you kind of either have to say yes or no, right? You can't just turn up and they've cooked you a meal and you say, actually, I'm not going to eat. I mean, as a host, I'd be really annoyed with that. But when it comes to watching football, or there's birthdays and there's crisps and picky bits around, they can be really dangerous, especially because they're hard to portion, and for a lot of people they're hard to stop once you've started on them. So one of the things I like to think about, and I want you to think about, is an FCK yes or no rule, right? A French connection yes or no rule. And that is it a French connection yes, as in you love what's on offer and you can't say no because you'd regret it, in which case have it, enjoy it. If it's not an FC UK no, yes, then it's a no. So I've used this example. I think I've used this example on the podcast before, but I'm going to do it again. So I have, and this is something I've been thinking personally about like a lot recently, and I've got so many examples. I think the example I've given before is cake. So if I go to a coffee shop and I see that they've got shop bought mass produced cake, let's say Costco cake on offer, that is a no. That is not an FC UK yes, right? Because firstly, I know it's about 800 calories a slice, which is a whole meal to me. Secondly, I don't like the taste of it. You can tell it's mass produced. And thirdly, I just really like homemade cake. It's so much better. Other examples, I really like, there's a few cocktails I really like, but if you took me into a bar and they had those cocktails on tap or cocktails out of a tin, I wouldn't have one because it's not the same to me. I really love an espresso martini, and I have to be really, really choosy about when I drink them because of the caffeine in them, and because I often have trouble with my sleep. And once I saw that they were pouring espresso martinis directly from a tap, and they looked so I'm going to say it, pissy, I was like, absolutely not. I think my husband said, oh, look, espresso martinis, do you want one? I was like, absolutely not. The same with wine. I really like wine, but I'm a bit of a wine snob, or fussy, whatever you want to call me. I don't care. I own that. I own that I'm a wine snob. And if the only wine there is on offer is something that I don't like a Chardonnay, or I don't really like a Pinot Grigio, I'm not going to drink it. I will drink, I'd rather drink sparkling water than drink something like that I don't like. So when you go to these occasions, if it is an FC UK, yes, oh my God, I love that, it's my absolute favourite, then have some and enjoy it. If not, stay away from it. If you think that there's going to be picky bits at an event you go to, make sure you are satisfied and full before you go. It's really tempting, and again we come up to a question about this next, but it's really tempting to say, oh, I'll skip dinner because there might be bits there, but then you'll end up overeating. So sometimes it's just easier not to even start on the picky food. And I would say that no one is going to judge you for not eating. You could easily say, you do not need to say, I'm trying to lose fat, or I'm on a diet, or anything like that. You could easily say, I've eaten already, and then no one would be any the wiser. This is more of a statement rather than a question, but I need to stop scrolling on my phone. So I have to tell you that I have created some really clear boundaries recently. And for those of you that are my clients, you may have noticed this a little bit. The clients that have noticed, or the clients that I've spoken to about this already, are really all in for this as a bit of a boundary. But I dug out my old phone. I dug out my old phone that was sitting in a cupboard waiting for me to do the, swap your mobile phone for cash, and they'd tell me that I can have £200 for it, when in reality they're going to give me 20. And I have put our app that we use, I've put my business WhatsApp, I've put my business emails on that phone. I have taken them off what I'm now calling my personal phone. And that phone stays on my desk unless I'm having a little bit of sofa working, and then it can come down to the sofa with me. It stays on my desk. At the end of the day, it gets switched off. Now, not everyone has this luxury. I understand that. And I kind of remember this from my corporate days where I had a work phone and a personal phone. Not everyone has this luxury. I didn't go out and buy a new phone. I just have an old mobile phone that I didn't do anything with. I also have app limits set for all my social media apps that after 8 p.m. I cannot access them. I cannot tell you the difference it has made to my life. I have more time for conversations with my son and my husband. I am sleeping better. I finally finished a book that I wasn't finishing because I'd sit in bed and I'd maybe scroll, or I'd go up to bed too late because I was scrolling, because I had a rule that I couldn't scroll in bed, so I'd scroll downstairs. The time I'm putting into coaching you as my clients is key time, because I'm not dipping in and out of it at 9 p.m. at night when actually I should be relaxing with my family. So set yourself some boundaries. It may not be that you can afford, not even afford, but it may not be that you have the luxury of having a spare phone that you can put all those things on. But there are things you can do. You can set app limits. I know you can do this on iPhones. I don't know about Android. There's also an app you can download. It does cost, I think it's about £8 a month. It's called Opal, which stops you being able to use certain apps at certain times of the day. Think about how you are with your children and their screen time. And you know what, maybe they don't have screen time limits, and that's, everyone parents differently, but would you allow your children to scroll and scroll and scroll for hours whilst not doing their homework or not eating their dinner or when they should be going to bed? parent yourself. If you're doing it and you can't just tell yourself to stop and stop doing it, find a solution. There are solutions. There's a free one with your screen time limits, or you can download an app that will help you. Okay, next one. So this is quite a long question, so I'm going to try not to mess it up when I read it. On Saturday evening, we were at a friend's and they ordered takeaway pizza. I hadn't had lunch, so I was starving. There was also crisps and dips, which I ate quite a bit of, and then had 4 slices of pizza. I hardly ever have takeaways and ended up having to have 2 weekends of them in a row. It actually made me feel quite rubbish afterwards, so I'd like to try and avoid having pizza again. I mean, just to let everyone know what's just happened, my child came in, distracted me, I pressed pause, and then I thought I was recording again. I wasn't. I said something amazing and realised I hadn't clicked record. So the technical problems continue. It's fine. We've got this. It's all good. Anyway, so think about how you are with your children. If you knew that they were scrolling right before bed, if you knew that they were doing that instead of doing their homework, would you be happy with it? No, you wouldn't. So here is what I want you to apply. Apply the same standards to yourself as you do to them. If you're scrolling instead of, getting to bed at a decent time, instead of planning for the next day, instead of prepping your breakfast for the next day so that you don't end up picking up something that's, half-assed and not goal aligned, put the phone down, stop scrolling, use the tools available to you, whether it's your screen time, whether it's an app you download. If you can't do it without it, if you can't stop yourself without using one of those things, if it's causing you a problem, change it. You have a choice. You have the ability to do that. Okay, next one. So this is quite a long question, but I think it's a really important one because there's quite a bit to say about it. So Saturday evening, we were at a friend's and they ordered takeaway pizza. I hadn't had lunch, so I was starving. There were crisps and dips, which I ate quite a bit of, and then I had 4 slices of pizza. I hardly ever have takeaways and ended up having 2 weekends of having them in a row. It actually made me feel quite rubbish afterwards, so I'd like to try and avoid having pizza again. I think I need to try and ask beforehand what we'll be having and may bring an alternative with me if it's something I know is going to make me feel rubbish after and take me over my calories. I also should have made time for lunch, so I didn't pig out. Okay. There's a few points that I'd really like to make here. I've had a sneak peek at this person's food diary, and here's what I've noticed, and this illustrates the point perfectly. So just like many people, you have tracked everything up until like Saturday breakfast, right? And then you've tracked Saturday breakfast. And I can see that you had your breakfast, you had some snacks, you had a glass of Prosecco, lovely. And then what's happened is you've not had time for lunch and you've gone and had your pizza. Now, I can tell you, obviously I don't know what pizza it was, but roughly 4 slices of pizza would not have taken you over your calories. Right, and let's clarify what I mean by over your calories. So the calorie range that everyone has set is their calorie deficit. So the higher end of that range still leaves you in about a 400 or 500 calorie deficit, depending on your starting point. Okay. So when I say taking you over your calories, I mean your calorie maintenance, the calorie number or the calorie range that is going to leave you staying as you are, right? And this is the mistake that people make. They eat 4 slices of pizza and some crisps and dips and they don't track it. So then they tell themselves, like you have, I've gone over my calories. And then what happens is they stop tracking on Sunday as well, like you have. So your breakfast is in for Sunday, but nothing else. So we don't have the pizza, we don't have the crisps and dips in for Saturday, and then we just have breakfast for Sunday. So my question to you is, how do you know you went over your calories? And how do you know how much you went over your calories? And then how do you know what you did Sunday? Now, I say again, you do not have to track calories in order to lose body fat. Your body is the best calorie calculator, the best tracking device you have. If you are not losing body fat, which is not represented just by the scales, as I always say every week, you are not in a calorie deficit. So something in your food needs to change. But what I see time and time again is you track and you track and you track, and then you do something you see as falling off the wagon, going off track, eating something bad. You don't track it. You tell yourself, that's it, I've screwed up. And it's not actually the pizza and the crisps and the dip that is the problem. It's that mindset telling you you've messed up and that you'll start again on Monday because you don't bother tracking Sunday either. Now, I don't know what you've eaten Sunday because you've not tracked it, and it could have been like a really goal aligned day. Either way, that act of saying stuff it on Saturday and then not doing it on Sunday, that's when I know people have this all or nothing perfectionist mentality, because I see these weekend gaps in their diaries all the time. Now, let me tell you, most, of the big pizza companies, their pizzas are really easy to track. And I bet you 4 slices of pizza, I should know this off the top of my head because, I talk about pizza all the time. But it's really going to do, I'm Domino's. 4 slices of Domino's pizza. We don't know. We don't know how many calories it is, but a medium pizza is 8 slices of pizza, right? Right, I've just looked it up. 4 slices of a medium pizza is half a pizza. That's somewhere between 500 and 800 calories depending on the pizza that you get, right? So even if it was 700 calories for you in particular, this specific person, that hasn't even taken you up to your lower end of your calories, right? Okay, you had some crisps and some dips, maybe you had a couple of drinks. You could have made a rough guess, right, I saw those crisps there, I had half a sharing bag of those, and let's say I had a third of a pot of hummus, right? Even if that's not what all your dips were, if you had the garlic and herb or whatever, you've made a rough guess. I bet you that still wouldn't have taken you up to maintenance. And then what you've done is you've gone, oh well, screw it. And so then you've not tracked on Sunday. Now, listen, I could be making a whole load of assumptions and you could just be listening to this going, Chrissy, I was busy on Sunday, I just forgot. But for the rest of you that are listening that do this, I know you, I see you, I know what goes on here, right? It wasn't the pizza, it wasn't the crisps and dip. It was your reaction to having the pizza, to having the crisps and dip. That's what keeps you in this cycle. Oh no, I've ruined it. Never mind. I'll start again Monday. So the best thing to have done is to have made an attempt to track it. 4 slices of pizza, half a bag of Walker's Sensation sweet Thai chicken or whatever it is, sweet chili chicken, third of a pot of hummus or cheese and chive dip, whatever it was. Maybe another glass of Prosecco. See where it took you out at, and then show the realization, I actually didn't do as badly as I thought. And then think about what you ate yesterday. So that's the first and the most important thing, is that you've already assumed that you don't know that you have gone overboard, that you've gone over your calories. You've assumed it before you even started. And actually, here's the thing. Yes, it might be helpful to ask your friends what's for dinner, what they're thinking of getting for dinner. And that might just be helpful so that you can plan the rest of the day. But here's something else. It is really easy to skip meals at the weekend when you're busy, when the routine is different. I see it often. And so, yes, I agree with you. Making time to have some lunch, even when you know you're going out that evening, is really important, because it will stop you overeating. But here's what I want to say. I don't think it was probably the pizza that made you feel rubbish, unless, you know, what you're telling me is that whenever you have pizza you feel rubbish. I don't think it was the fact that you had pizza. I think it's the fact that you hadn't eaten since breakfast. You overindulge on the pizza, the crisps and the dip, and actually you overate, and that's what made you feel rubbish. Because having pizza every now and then, there's nothing wrong with. So yes, for sure, try to make sure that if you've got a busy day, you plan in how you're going to get some lunch in. That will stop you overeating in the evening. Do not automatically think that because someone has ordered a takeaway pizza, that is going to push you over your calories. You can eat pizza if you like pizza. I want you to eat pizza if you like pizza. But do it in a controlled way. And the controlled way means having your lunch, working out what the pizza is going to do, and being okay with that. All right. Okay. Next one. What supplements do you advise everyone to be taking? I know some things are specific to certain people. Yes, there are some quite specific things. I don't believe that we have to spend loads and loads of money on loads of supplements. Most things you should be able to get from your diet. I've already mentioned creatine in a previous question. For most people, I recommend vitamin D, because we live in England, we don't see very much sun. Scotland, we live in the UK, and you don't see much sun, you know, I get that. If you struggle to get your protein in, feel free to use protein powders or protein products. If you're vegan or veggie, then B12. And if you don't eat much oily fish, omega-3. Aside from that, you know, there are some other things that might help. You know, magnesium and zinc. If you don't sleep very well, they might help. But most other things you should be able to get from your food. Okay, I need to stop focusing on the negatives. So actually I'm going to read the previous statement. My energy levels are so low, I'm finding this is affecting my mood. I'm feeling frustrated that I'm getting tired doing the minimum, and I hate asking for help. I need to stop focusing on the negatives. Doing this feedback form has already given me time to reflect on what I've achieved this week. So this person has been quite ill. And I agree, you need to stop focusing on the negatives. You've been ill, that's really unfortunate, and that's really tough. However, I repeat this so often, and I'm going to say it for the same person. Listen, when you are ill, I'm not about to say to you, get your ass in that gym and work out 5 times a week. Get out for a run. Stop being an idiot. Like, you have to go by what your medical team tell you to do. However, our bodies are designed to move, and I don't know about you, but when I do nothing, I feel like even more like I should do nothing, and it's awful. So your next question is, with my current health issue, walking is achievable. Should I just go with how I feel, or would you recommend a step goal? Honestly, I think you need a step goal. I think you need to give yourself some absolute non-negotiables. It doesn't give yourself a step goal, or a step range would be better. But I honestly think where you can, and this goes for everyone, right? This goes for everyone. If you're ill, if you get a cold, if you get a virus, if you get a cough, if you've got a migraine, like, there are a few things that will always make you feel a bit better. One of them is a hot shower or a hot bath. If you can get outside and get some fresh air, do it. I don't want you doing that if you have an upset tummy, you're throwing up, or you're going to infect everyone, but within reason. But prolonged instances of just doing nothing and doing nothing and doing nothing and focusing on the negatives and telling yourself how low your energy levels are will lead you to feeling like doing even more of nothing. Okay, this might sound like I'm being really harsh, but what I'm trying to say is, if you can get out for a walk, do that. It will make you feel a million times better, and you will build up the strength, you will build up the stamina to do a bit more every single day. And you've said in your commitment to yourself, keep showing up for myself and showing myself kindness and focusing on getting as healthy as I can to get me ready for surgery. Like, that is the thing you need to think about. If you're going to have surgery, you want to feel good after that surgery, this is your opportunity. I'm not saying get in the gym, I'm not saying go to boot camp, but do what you can to get yourself in the best position for when you have that surgery, because surgery is so hard to get over, and it's easier if we can be fitter beforehand. Okay, next one. Are there any food or exercises you would recommend for my stomach? This is my problem area. Okay, so you can't spot reduce fat. The body will take your excess body fat from where it wants to first. This is largely genetic, which is why the areas we describe as our problem areas are described as that, because that's where the excess body fat will go first, and that's where it comes away from last. Okay, so for me, it's my legs and my bottom. Everyone will be different. The only way you can reduce fat is to stay in your calorie deficit and continue ticking the boxes. So if your stomach area is your problem area, there's no specific food, there's no amount of sit-ups, there's no amount of running, there's no amount of supplements that is going to change that. And if anyone tries to advertise you that to you, then they're talking rubbish. This is about remaining consistent. Okay, I've eaten over my calorie target this week. I've ranged from 1700 to 1900. I think just because I've been so tired from jet lag and the trip, and also because I was eating a larger volume of food, so I've struggled to take this back down. I've still been under maintenance, I think, so not a huge problem, just taking me a bit longer to get back within the range. Great reflection. So focus on volume foods here so that you feel like you're eating the same in terms of amounts, but focus on the low calorie, high nutrient dense food. So plenty of lean protein, plenty of fruit, plenty of veg, plenty of fibre, and you will get there. Jet lag is an absolute, it's I always say lack of sleep is torture, and jet lag is something that is like torture. It's horrific. Okay, and then final question. How accurate are BMR calculators? So this question came from someone in the last diet club, but I thought I would share it here because I thought it was a really good one for the podcast. So if you've used a calorie calculator, there's one on my website. I obviously use a calorie calculator to set all of your calories. They will break down what your calories are and how they're split up. And for those of you that are listening that are my clients, you've got a video explaining all of this in your resources section. Let me know if you want me to point it out to you. Your BMR stands for basal metabolic rate. That is the number of calories your body burns just to stay alive. Okay, so if you were not to move for 24 hours, that is how many calories your body burns. And let me tell you, it is a lot. Just staying alive, just keeping your brain eats up so many calories, but staying alive, just having all your organs ticking over burns up a lot of calories, which is one of the reasons why I say to you, don't think you need to exercise to burn extra calories. Just being alive burns more calories. So that's your basal metabolic rate. And then what we add on to that is your activity level. So your steps and your workouts, and your BMR, by the way, comes from your height, your weight, your age, and your sex. And then what we add on to that is your activity level, how many steps you do, how many workouts you do, which then gives you a total daily energy expenditure, which is why I always say don't eat back your exercise calories, because I've already included them in your calorie calculation. And then what we do is I subtract a number of calories, anywhere between 15 and 25% of your calories, to give you a calorie range. Okay, now there are hundreds of thousands of calorie calculators out there. I've got one on my website. I use one in Everfit. There's another one online that I use as well, sometimes if I just want to check something against what Everfit is telling me. And when I was doing this person's video response to them, I showed them the calorie calculation across 3 different calorie calculators, and they all give roughly the same number. And that's because those formulas come from, they all come from the same formula that was designed years and years ago. There's been additions to those formulas and slight tweaks to those formulas, but mostly they come from the same place. Are they 100% accurate? No. As I said earlier in the podcast, the best calorie calculator, the best food tracker is your body. If you are gaining body fat, you are not in a calorie deficit. If you are losing body fat, no, I said body fat, not weight, you are in a calorie deficit. That is the best calorie calculator and tracker you have to hand. But these calorie calculators give us a certain number, a place to start. Now, there are a few calorie calculators out there that will give you quite different calories. So I know, for example, James Smith's calorie calculator tends to give higher calories, but that's because when you work with James Smith, he gives you a much higher general movement target, so step target, and workout target as well. So he has people dieting on much higher calories. The group of women that I work with, the women that are, that come to me, don't always have the time to get 10, 15,000 steps in. They don't have the time to be in the gym 5 days a week. So I meet you where you're at. The person that asked this question does really struggle to get their steps in. So their calorie target, and they are a smaller woman, so their calorie target needs to be a little bit lower. The best way you can know if you are in a calorie deficit is by taking measurements, weight, progress pictures, and comparing your body in different clothes and how they feel and how you feel. This person is smashing the gym at the moment, so they're obviously doing something right, otherwise they wouldn't be. Okay, so I think they're roughly accurate, but you will see varying differences across all of them, and I just thought that was a really interesting question to share. Okay, that's me. This actually took longer than I expected, probably because of all the mess about with the recording, but hey ho. If you want to know how you can get involved in the Mum Boss method and how I can support you to achieve your health, weight loss and fitness goals, check the links in the show notes. Ladies, thank you very much for checking in, and I'll see you later. Bye.